They gonna let me for my ambition.
We are back. Welcome to the podcast, CA Podcast, CAP, Club Ambition Podcast. We are back again with another episode. I go by sound, and we have the Chubb Corner in here, full effect this time, 100%.
Yes,
Erlen and Marloon.
What's up, everybody? Welcome.
100% effective. Well. You know, man, where do I start? For those who don't know, and obviously you do know if you're here for that, you can fast forward if you want to check out the full interview we did with Jorge Elorza, our city's mayor. For the next 3 months, he's still the mayor. He's been the mayor for 8 years, almost a decade, but he's leaving. He's not going to be our mayor anymore. He can't be legally. Jorge Elorza, Providence, Rhode Island mayor. That full interview, very cool, interesting insight into politics. And I also asked some raw questions. It wasn't biased. It was a great interview. Check it out. Fast forward ahead if you want to watch that. But let's talk about the current events and culture. I had a list of things, but unfortunately, we have sad news, literally breaking news. Right as we were recording a promotion for this episode, it was announced that PNB Rock has officially passed away. Here is the news reporting.
About 1:15 p.m., Southeast Patrol officers responded to the 100 block of Manchester Avenue for a robbery that just occurred. When they arrived, they found a male suffering gunshot wounds, and that male was then transported to the hospital. What occurred was the victim, along with a female witness, were in this area eating at a restaurant when they were approached by at least one suspect who brandished a firearm and demanded property from the victim. The suspect then shot the victim multiple times and removed property, and then left the location in a getaway car. The getaway car fled in an unknown direction. We don't know where the vehicle went. Officers then were able to close down the scene until we could find out what the status of the victim is. I'm sorry to say that the victim has been pronounced deceased at 1:59 hours today. South Bureau Homicide is working this case, as are many other detectives.
What can you tell us about the victim's age?
I don't have the victim's age or any of the other identifiers right now. I can tell you that it is a male. Out of respect for the family and other loved ones, we're not going to be identifying this individual right now.
That's wild, yeah.
So there we have it.
Careful, that video might play.
Oh, there's something else playing next? The accident? All right, we don't need that. This is serious. PNB Rock has passed away, ladies and gentlemen. PNB Rock at the age of 30 years old. Full legal name, Rakeem Hasim Allen. Quick moment of silence for PNB Rock. Condolences to his family.
Yeah.
Condolences to... Man. This is just crazy. So this happened. He was shot at a restaurant at 1:23 p.m. Literally an hour and a half later, pronounced dead. We have live reactions happening. First of all, before we get into the reactions, there's rumors. People are alleging this shit. I hope it's not true. I doubt it's true, but people are talking about it. He was with his girlfriend there. I believe is his child's mother, his baby mother. Damn near his wife. I believe he's been with her for a while. There was a post that she made on her Instagram yesterday where she reactivated her Instagram because she had it deleted, according to her, because of him. He deleted it, laughing, blah, blah. Like they were arguing. I guess he made her delete it. Jokey, and she brought it back. And then today, her second day back on Instagram, she posts this: Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles. House of Chicken and Waffles. A photo of the meal, about to eat with PNB Rock. This is the location that he was attempted to be robbed at and killed. People are alleging her connections to this. I doubt that. First of all, even if it happened at this point, he's dead, so why doesn't matter. If she did it, God forbid she did it, then arrest her. That's a criminal. Don't give a fuck what anyone says, right? But if she didn't, then let's shut the fuck up and let her fucking mourn in peace. Because I believe she's his child's mother. She's not just his girlfriend. This is someone that has a life with this man, right? Aside from this, we also have a reaction. Academics posted this. This was a actual interview that he had with PNB Rock about a week ago, where PNB Rock discussed, I believe during the pandemic, he being attempted to be robbed. I think at a restaurant, similar situation in LA with his girlfriend again, but this time I believe he was with his child. As of now, today when he passed away, I think he was not with his child present. God forbid that did happen. That would have been extremely traumatic, even though it's still traumatic because she lost her father. Now we have this clip going viral of him discussing this, almost foreshadowing, God forbid that's the energy, but it's wild how energy works. He was literally talking about this happening to him in LA already.
It was like they just gave a drop up too fast, you feel me? So the second time I got into some shit, it was like niggas was just talking loud as shit, wanting me to hear their conversation. And it's like, I'm with my peoples, like I'm with my daughter and my girl. Like, why they talking about this gangster shit? Like, with this around, like we outside, we on Fairfax. I'm like, man, you know, I already peed the blitz. We
There's
out.
gangsters out there on Fairfax.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm on Fairfax right now. So I'm like, man, we out of here. You feel me? Like, we going. My girl, like, no, we ain't. What's wrong? I'm like, I'm just going off of the vibes. Like, we out.
Is she peeping the energy? Because I'm
No,
missing you on point.
Yeah, she ain't peeping. She was thinking
That's
I'm
the thing
tripping.
about women sometimes.
She be thinking I'm tripping. So, in the mix of all this, I'm like, no, we out. So she peeped that I'm serious. She's like, no, we out. We drive probably like 2 blocks in the street. She thinking this shit a game. She pulled over somewhere else. Like, oh, I wanted to go to this store right here. And then in the mix of me, like telling her like where the park at, it's like somebody just came fast as shit and took the parking spot, like the same spot that we.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, they must have been following me or something, bro. How the fuck this car get behind me this fast? Like I ain't even look. I look back and that shit was there quick as shit. And then when I walked past, like the car bombed out. Like this shit tinted to the max.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting all this heat coming from the car though. Like I'm feeling the energy coming from the car. I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Who that car? Like, on some other shit. I ain't go in the store for 2 seconds. The same people coming from out the car, hop in the store, hype as shit, say some gang banging shit, like some set of my. I don't know what they say. They said some shit out loud.
Set tripping or
But it was like
something.
something that I recognized the energy. You feel me? I'm like, what? You feel me? Like he like started talking to me with some gangster shit. Like I'm like, bro, do you know me? Like you know me from somewhere? He like, nigga, yeah, I know who you is. Trying to get me to like get into some shit. So I'm like, man, I flagged him off and I just walked out the store because I already know like where this shit about to go. You feel me?
You don't have.
So, God forbid, he could have literally lost his life in this situation, this predicament. He's a celebrity. When you're a celebrity, you're out in public. You're a millionaire walking. Attempted robbery is always something that can happen. Not even to just a celebrity. They rob old ladies with pearl necklaces. They rob anyone. In DR, they rob you for your iPhone at any point. This is our live reaction right now that just happened. Kodak Black posted this. Big jets, only jets anyways. Man, I've been low all day due to a headache I had earlier, so I'm just getting this news for real. I don't usually speak on deaths. I go to funerals. Or he probably means or. He probably doesn't go to funerals or nothing because life goes on. But shaking my head, PNB was my boy. I was just with him. I was just on a plane with him last night. We be talking about him coming back out and popping his shit again in this rap shit. They have obviously classic record together. But let's just talk about it in general. Rest in peace of PNB Rock.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Fans of him over here. You guys were fans of him. You listened to PNB Rock right when he was out 2016, 2017.
Yeah, for sure.
Huge run.
Who didn't, honestly?
Yeah, huge run. But aside from that, I think he definitely was an influential artist when it came to the melody and quote-unquote melodic rap. He was one of the forerunners of that, especially of this new generation. Recently, you can say he quote-unquote fell off, whatever the case may be, but his records are classic. The music that he has is very classic. All those songs, whether they were with XXXTentacion, whether they were, like we just said, Kodak Black, A Boogie, he has a lot of very classic moments when it comes to melody rap, and one of the best at it, very influential. And this just sucks. Now, who is at fault here, right? Because I think this is a deeper conversation when it comes to another month another death. Another rapper died. Another rapper shot. Last month we had little TJ. God bless, he survived. This month we have PNB Rock, and he passes away. Attempted robbery. Now, who is at fault in general? I think it's two ways you can take it. There's multiple ways, but I look at it like this. Record labels definitely need to step up and provide some sort of extra resources for these artists when it comes to free security, emphasizing you have the security, use it for free wherever you are, right?
Yeah.
Also, when it comes to the drug overdose rappers, Juice WRLD, etc., we've spoken about it, providing them with free therapy, free rehabilitation center access, everything. Record labels could have their own therapy buildings. They could literally be an Atlantic Records therapy and Atlantic Records security provided to these artists, right? But the other issue is this: when it comes to that, even if it's provided, these artists come from a lifestyle, this culture, hip hop, the culture that we love and idolize. It's not cool to have security. It's cool to, what did Pooh Shiesty say? Got my own fire on me, don't need security in the club. Like, you have to become this superhero at all times, when in reality you are a walking asset. You are a business walking. You're a multi-millionaire. You should be open to having security protection at all costs. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That should never be viewed as corny. We are a part of a consumer culture of this content and this culture and music where staying alive for some reason isn't cool. Staying alive, being in love, actually wanting to continue on seems to not be cool. We advocate and fuck with more of the gun and shoot him up, the ops, and I took 12 perks and all this, but then the real issues never get addressed. And I think that energy being put out there, you know, causes the world to do what it does. And at the same time, overall, there's a third perspective where it's like, man, anyone can be robbed, killed at any moment, no matter what. Even if he were to have security, etc., this might have just been PNB Rock's time. Very unfortunately, right? And then people want to allege that his girlfriend set him up. It's like, damn, I don't think it's that to that level. God forbid. But then again, we've seen worse. People, oh, it's not a movie, but movies are based off real life. Yeah. That's something that could potentially definitely happen. His girlfriend setting him up. I can't think of something off the top of my head, but I know for sure there's just been situations like that. Maybe nothing prominent that can come on the top of my head, but people get set up.
Like how we was talking about earlier, Marloon said it's like the Pop Smoke situation where it was like somebody posted the address on like, showing off some clothes or something, you know, showing off. Like you said, PNB Rock made her delete her Instagram. In the video, he's been cautious with her. You know, she's a little more like not paying attention as to the status of who he is, you know. So it's like probably her, she got her IG back. She posted the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles to be like, yo, we out, you know, innocently. If it's his baby mama, they've been together for a while. It sucks that she slipped up that 1 second of she forgot who they was, and it seems like she just posted it innocently, and look at what happened, you know.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it sucks that, you know, these artists and shit like that have to move as if, you know, they're artists. It sucks that they can't move like normal human beings. Yeah. There's horrible people in the fucking world that just be fucking lurking and preying on probably just straight up artists, you know what I'm saying? Like, they probably I wouldn't even doubt there's like a special division for that shit, bro. Yeah. It's like a bunch of just fucking people just fucking.
They got the notifications on
just
real
be on
quick.
Fucking, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like who keeps up with like a rapper's, you know, baby mama type shit? Like, usually you'll follow like the rapper and any close friends or some artist type shit like that. But I don't know, man. And it's like at the same time, I don't know. It's like how Vic was saying. Yeah, y'all gotta stop moving. Like security and shit like that ain't helpful. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I know I'm contradicting myself because obviously you're a human being. You want to just do you. You want to just move around, you know, just be normal type shit. But it's like at the end of the day, you know that there's bums out there that want to take advantage of you, and they won't fucking hesitate, bro. There's some bad people in the world that are fucking selfish and only give a fuck about themselves. Don't matter how many fucking lives gotta fucking get buried because of them, bro. As long as they up, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I don't understand why. Like I understand because of social media and cancel culture and like somebody wearing a fake chain. You know, they have the testers now, where everybody being a YouTuber and whatever. But why put yourself in that situation? Like, just go out with that fake chain, make it look like it's believable, and if you get robbed, give the chain away. That's it. You lost a couple thousand compared to losing maybe 200,000 or even worse, your life.
Your life, yeah.
It's when you're on that status, when you get to that level, there's a whole other thing you got to move, and everybody's looking at you different.
Not real talk.
It's
Real
tough.
talk. That's why I don't fuck with that jewelry shit. I really don't, man. I don't fuck with that jewelry stuff. I have an Apple Watch, and look, I'm not even wearing it right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's not even nothing. And I was like hesitant to get it because from a young age, like I've seen shit like this happen all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I legit, like when I was a child, that shit happened to my dad once. Like people approached him and stole his shit and all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? I've seen shit like this. So it was like, and we're talking about like silver and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's not fucking
Not even
mention fucking $200, $400,
diamonds and shit.
$500,000 chains and shit like that. What 21 Savage say? 21 Savage say he doesn't even fucking wear no jewelry and shit like that no more. Cause you know what I'm saying? Don't give these motherfuckers reasons to fucking. If you don't got shit on you, bro, you know, then don't do it. It's same shit with like carrying cash and shit like that. If you get jumped, you get robbed, you got cash on you, you're not getting that shit back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And gives them another reason for you to get fucking licked. Carry on cards and shit, bro. You know, they steal your shit, you lock that shit, boom, you can get that shit back. I don't walk around with cash. You know what I'm saying?
no.
This ain't
Especially
about
now.
us though, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, you know,
I was moving cautious. Being
man.
cautious with life, no matter who you are. It's like people out
sucks,
there, shiesty people out there.
who knows, you know, this is some gang related tie shit.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the same people who were trying to fucking rob him.
That's
you
what I
know
was
what
about
I'm
to say
saying?
from the academics interview.
So-
It could potentially maybe be the same people that tried him in the past, and then
Yeah.
he escaped that situation. Maybe they were like on some dumb shit like, I'll get him. We'll catch him next time slipping or something. But it's like LA's been on some shit because obviously Nipsey Hussle passed away, rest in peace. Draco the Ruler got killed, rest in peace. YG's friend got killed, rest in peace. And Pop Smoke got killed in LA as well.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. And a robbery as well. So, man, please be very safe out there, everybody. This is not a game. You guys like to fucking comment bullshit under these posts of Slide for Vaughn, YB, this and that, Quando, these rappers. But when shit hits the fan, it's like you don't want to go through that yourself. You don't want to experience your family doesn't want to experience you passing away, but you don't want to experience a friend or a family member passing away nearby you because you will be affected by it traumatically.
Yeah.
And his son or daughter, pardon me, his daughter, I believe he has a daughter now, who will unfortunately now have no father. And we haven't even discussed the fact that they put his fucking video of him dying online.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing. That's what I wanted to address. What makes you think in your mind that it's okay when someone is dying in front of you to take all... Your first instinct is to take out your phone and record them. Rather than trying to get help. Rather than making sure that they're okay. Making sure that you're okay. You want to film this person dying in front of you to post it online. Why? What benefit are you going to get from this? Because you're not going to get paid from this. You're not going to get any, like, actual, like, what value does it have? That's not even clout. What is that?
You might get sued.
Yeah.
You're going to get, like, what is that?
That's not
Yeah.
recognition that I would want.
No.
That's horrible. I believe that Kobe Bryant, when he passed away, the firefighters or the cops and stuff had photos of his body,
Yeah.
and then his wife Vanessa.
One the
won the
trial,
lawsuit. I think
yeah.
100 plus
16 mil?
something crazy. It was a lot of millions.
16,
It's
man.
crazy.
Whatever the case may be, congratulations to her. She won that case, that lawsuit, and it's like, why would you play with someone's, like, that's someone's life, and now their child has to see their father die on camera for the rest of their life, because once it's uploaded once, it will be online forever.
Yeah.
And that's the fucking sad part and dark part about the internet. It's like, why or what is going on in this world? Like, why is that a thing? It's so crazy to me. And it's like, no one benefits from that. There's no like real deal of a valid news blog, etc. posting it. It's just random people posting it, and then everyone telling you to delete it.
Yeah.
So then eventually you got to delete it, you know, especially when there's an agonizing death like that. Like, you don't want to, you know, man, this is just so fucking crazy. What a random fucking occurrence and news that we just got hit on a fucking Monday afternoon.
Facts.
Like, why is this real? This is so crazy, man. Rest in peace, PNB Rock.
Yeah.
Raheem, his family, prayers to them. You know, I believe I saw him live. I think me and YI went to see him live. I want to say that because I remember there was a situation where it was me or him both trying to meet him, and then PNB had to leave fast at that. But it was so long ago. My memory's drawing blank. But he's definitely been here to Providence, Rhode Island multiple times. We were huge fans of PNB Rock here in Rhode Island. He had a lot of love out here. So condolences to him. You know, play his music. You know, but at the same time, hopefully, man. I know he was leaving his contract with Atlantic Records now. So if he has anything new, I would recommend playing his independent music. Because I don't know, man, if Atlantic Records tries to juice a fucking PNB Rock album out of this, it's so sick. That's what's probably gonna happen now. We're gonna get PNB Rock album.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Jesus Christ, man. I hope it doesn't get messy. I hope the family figures it out and gets involved, and we don't get no messy situations. You know, I hope they handle it how they've handled the Nipsey shit. Nipsey, they haven't dropped shit with Nipsey. And when it kind of comes out, there's always controversy. Like, they make sure it's good. They took the game feature off the game album. They took the Nipsey. They're like, oh, no, we don't want that out. Took it off. I think Khaled was the only one that dropped one. I think maybe Big Sean had one too. But you gotta be very precise. These are people. These are not just rappers that are just characters and like fake people you see online. These are human beings with fucking families. And yeah, this is sad. Rest in peace, PNB Rock. Can't believe we're announcing and speaking about another rapper's death. Very unfortunate. Oh my God.
I had to let a little loogie out.
Oh my God. I might have to let a loogie out, Marlon says. This is pardon the interruption, guys. Quick commercial break. It's a sign of the times. We're dealing with a lot around the world. Recently we had the pandemic. A lot of people were scared. Like, do I need to get into a bunker? Do I need a first aid kit? What is going on? How am I going to be able to get medicine? A lot of people want to maybe get antibiotics, but you don't want to deal with over the counter. You don't want to deal with the doctor per se. They already calculated that if we were to go into a world-ending catastrophic situation, when it comes to these manufacturers that produce this, we would be at a very, very huge shortage here in America. But here is a company that's going to provide you this service. They're called JASE Medical.
It's a pack of 5 different courses of antibiotics that you can use to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, and skin infections.
Just like we all should have a first aid kit in our home, we all need at least one Jace case. Go to jasemedical.com right now and use the code word CLUB10 for $10 off your Jace case.
That's right. You heard Marlon correct. CLUB10 is our promo code for $10 off a medical pack that might save your life, or at least definitely guaranteed to make you feel better when it comes to these antibiotics. $10 off. jasemedical.com. JSE medical.com. That's Jace with a S. CLUB10, the promo code for $10 off. How do you guys feel after hearing this? I heard you guys sniffing over there, coughing. What's going on? Need some Jace Medical?
Now for sure, man. It's getting a little cold, getting a little chilly. We got the sniffles already, man. Put our order through. Gonna get them antibiotics.
It's that time. It's that time. You gotta take care of yourself. This definitely seems like an essential that you should have. So why not?
Wait, did you guys did you guys take the COVID test before you came in here? Like I told you, did you?
Nah, we ain't take no tests, yo.
JaceMedical.com.
But I took the
Yeah, JaceMedical.com.
What happened at Mi Sueño?
Yo, you seen that shit?
Oh yes, so over the weekend.
Yo,
listen, man.
cars flipped and shit. What's going on?
Providence, Rhode Island had a very interesting night at Mi Sueño nightclub on Broad Street. The Dominicans were at it fighting. No one passed away. No one got charges, I believe, either. Thank God, right?
My God.
But from my inside information, so there was an event, basically the car speaker thing that they do, where people bring their vans and the cars and they have speakers in the back.
Yeah, speakers. Yeah.
So they were doing the last one of the summer there at Mi Sueño. It's the last one that they're gonna have. After that, they can't do it no more. So everyone came out, but Boston and New York people came.
Yeah.
Boston and New York Dominicans. They packed it out.
Damn.
And by 8:00, there was already like 4 reported fights. Police shut it down. It was madness. It was chaos.
Wow.
My aunt was literally there. It was chaos. And
She caught a chair.
yeah, she said she left like before the major fight. But very unfortunate, man. These people. But at the same time, it's like, hey, the story is supposedly a guy was chilling with his girl and another guy grabbed the girl's ass and boom, right? But they were saying there's 4 fights, so maybe one of the fights, maybe the one that I caught or I reposted on video, might be the one that caused that.
There was females fighting and shit like that too.
Yeah, titties out
and everything.
Everything.
Bunch of chairs.
People thought it was blood, but it wasn't
like
blood. It was wine that fell on the guy.
Yeah.
It looked like blood, but it wasn't blood.
It's
you know?
crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, but
Bro,
Mi
that shit-
Sueño, we're in there next week.
Oh God,
Sold out.
That shit would have been a Central American fight, bro. Someone probably would have gotten stabbed.
100%.
The little Central Americans don't.
I'm surprised there was no guns and shit.
Yeah, thank God.
Do they pat down in Mi Sueño? I think so.
I think so, yeah, especially at those events.
Yeah, thank God. Nothing like if no
one died.
Hopefully nobody got really injured badly.
It was the Guatemalan festival in the Roger Williams Park. Did you go, Marlon? Marlon was there performing. You thought I was killing? You thought I was feeling you? You Guatemalan suck.
Nah, for real though, because
it was happening, bro.
Why though? Because I'm assuming because it was Sunday.
Because I saw Chata posted. Jorge, shout out to Chata Soto. He posted.
Independence for Guatemala is on the 14th.
Oh, surprised that's why they did it. Maybe they were able to reserve it a week prior. I think it was literally. It might have been. Oh no!
Yeah, it should be random because the Colombian one was the same day as the Dominican festival too. So
in a different location. But I didn't even know that they use the Temple of Music for the Guatemalan festival. I never knew that. Maybe the first time, maybe the second time. Who knows?
Bro, I'm Guatemalan. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was packed too.
We gotta go next one.
Now I seen just videos though.
Yeah, it was pretty decently packed. We gotta go to the next one, Mar. We gotta eat the food.
We gotta show off the culture.
Why do I say that so sad? Like.
I eat that shit every day, bro. Why don't want to eat it again? It's like y'all saying, Dominican food, shit like that. Y'all don't want to eat it. I love Dominican food. You know what I'm saying? I eat Guatemalan food every day, so why,
We're gonna have a culture day.
I live. No, actually, I'm not even gonna say where the fuck I live.
Yeah, don't stop.
But, yeah, man,
man, listen.
Pay me and I'll go.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm telling them little motherfuckers be getting
2 turn drunk fast and then hot fast.
Oh man, them motherfuckers drank 3 24 packs before they went to trust me, I know how they move, bro.
Pre-gaming. They pre-game. Their pre-game is breakfast.
That's the pre-game of the pre-game.
Damn.
It's crazy, bro.
Double pre-game.
We drink like it's nothing.
Pre-game.
I don't drink, but
the culture, the Guatemalans.
Crazy, bro.
But also in Rhode Island, shout out to KASIN and his family, the 11-year-old that I posted. A lot of people were sending me the post of David Del Greco, the 35-year-old that attacked him. And people were like, yo, you should cover it, blah, blah. A significant amount of people. Shout out to Ashley. She also even texted me. Her sister is neighbors with KASIN. Wow. And her sister reached out. And I was like, all right, I definitely got to do this, but I want to do it the right way. Reached out to the mother, was in contact with the mother. And check out the post if you guys haven't yet. It's gone viral on Twitter. It's gone viral on Instagram. On TikTok, they took it down multiple times. I don't know what TikTok... I censored the kid being hurt. I don't know. I'm gonna have to repost it again. I don't know what's going on with TikTok.
Yeah, definitely
'cause-
have to censor the kid getting hurt, I guess, and shit like that. But
But then I did that,
but you
and
can
it's still.
see tits and ass on TikTok, and it's
That's
perfectly
what I don't
fine.
get. It's like this is I'm bringing awareness to serious situations.
Honestly,
So
this shit is
TikTok got to work
crazy.
on the community guidelines. I do not know, but it's not about going viral. It's about the awareness getting out there. So awareness for KASIN's situation. I believe they're getting lawyers involved, and David Del Greco in Johnson, Rhode Island, is basically a wanted man. Like people do not fuck with him now. There already was rumors of him being a bad person in the past, and now this has just been brought in, bringing it to light more.
Confirmed it.
Yeah, because it's like, how are you gonna attack the 11-year-old
Bro.
child? Like, I get it. You want to protect your son, back up
Yeah,
your son.
I get it.
But take him off of
grab
your son.
you know, or
Yeah.
grab, you know, and push him off. Don't tackle him and
Bro,
then
smush his face.
smush his face on the
and then
concrete,
prior
bro.
to that, call him
Saying
an
the
N-word.
N-word, yeah. Going
Prior to
crazy.
that, it was already like this aggression to like provoke. Like, okay, you're already racist and shit. Okay,
Yeah, so what? Why
You
you,
wanna kill this poor kid.
why you letting your kid play with him then? What
Yeah.
the fuck's going on? You know what I'm saying?
God forbid KASIN would have died.
You a bitch,
Yeah.
bro.
Because people get head trauma. What's it called? Just head trauma. Like
Yeah,
it
bro,
happens.
come on, it's a kid, bro.
Yeah. So
Come on,
fuck that shit.
you a bitch.
Yeah.
For real.
Let's
Fuck
keep it a
'em.
stack. Let's keep it a stack.
Fuck you, David
Bitch,
Del
bro.
Greco.
Bitch. It's like the mother said, God forbid if it was her black husband doing that to her. Oh my
Oh,
God.
man.
He'll be in jail right now, and guess what? He probably would have been doing 10 years right
Yeah.
now. Boom.
He'll be on
like
Fox
that.
News.
Oh, 100%.
Fox News.
100%.
Rhode
Oof.
Island needs to be shut down.
Post fucking flyers everywhere and shit like that
Mm-hmm.
on some crazy shit.
Yeah.
That's how that bullshit be, man.
But since he's white, man, fuck you.
Mm-hmm. But also over the weekend, shout out to Ski Master Slump God. So shout out to Zay, first of all, who had the open invite. Zay, we had in here. Check out his interview.
Yeah.
Extraordinary stylist, is working closely now with SNOT. And SNOT had a concert, and Zay had the open invite. He has another open invite for us if we want to go tomorrow night. But it's like it's in New York. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. Taking a trip to New York.
Damn, I think he was gonna say Mass again. I definitely
Nah,
would've
if it
been
was
down
Mass, I
tomorrow.
wish. But New York, and it's Fashion Week in New York,
Mm.
so SNOT might bring out ASAP Rocky. I think I wasn't supposed to say that, but who cares? It's Tuesday now. The episode drops, and then ASAP Rocky's gonna be there. So it could be dope to meet Rocky. But Tuesday night to go to New York, Zay, I might not. I'm not gonna go to
man.
that.
Listen,
But I
appreciate,
appreciate the invite.
appreciate that.
But SNOT,
I
man,
hate
I
that
met
wasn't
SNOT. I was talking to SNOT a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty cool,
Cool dude.
nice person. Like
He's
he
been
was-
blowing up on TikTok lately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been very
He's been
nice.
blowing up. Like
been
in the
very
car
nice.
community.
Yeah.
He's
Oh, because he
been
has 3
blowing the
cars. He
fuck-
was telling me about the 3 cars he has.
He's been blowing the fuck up. Like he was telling, I think he's dropping a new song, or he dropped a new song, and he was telling people like, you know, show the cars and shit like that with the song and shit. And people were asking him if this shit was valid and shit. I was following that whole trend, bro. I want to do it myself, but my shit's clapped out. I'll still send it to you, Snot though.
Yeah, he was mad dope.
Yeah, he seems mad cool.
He was talking about Rhode Island a lot, asking questions about Rhode Island. Very interested.
That's fire. We should
Hopefully we
him
get you
in.
out here, Snot. You know, hopefully I would love to interview you. I know you don't like interviews, but you're very, interesting to me. And you didn't show your face the whole night, so I can't tell you guys how his face
He
looks
was
like.
covered for real.
He
But he
don't gotta
posted
show
it,
it
though.
here though.
But he posted on IG recently, so I was like, oh, but he really lives and dies by that face mask. Like he's like, this is I'm Snot, bitch, everywhere I go. But he's very dope, very nice, very kind. And then aside from that, he opened up for Suicide Boys. The main concert was Suicide Boys, but the last opener for the Suicide Boys was Ski Mask, the Slump God. So Ski Mask, the Slump God. He's been trying to call me with Zay recently in the past couple weeks, and I'm always doing something, so I can't pick up. I'm always busy. And then by the time I'm like, oh, call me back. They were, it's a concert, whatever. But Zay was dying to actually, make us meet as if we haven't met already, right? But then I hang out with.
You come
Well,
and ski.
Yeah, well, he introduces us to ski. Introduces me to ski, like, because Ski came up and he was just saying hi to everyone, but he kind of didn't notice me. And then he said hi to me. But then he was like, Ski was about to damn near cry, bro. It was such a weird interaction. Ski Mask, man, we really love you. He was like shocked, looking at me, like paused, just staring at me. And like, he's like, yo, y'all gonna make a nigga emotional right now, and then hugged me. And I had the X shirt.
time,
I had the
yeah.
X shirt on as well. So he was like going crazy about the X shirt. And then shout out to DJ Scheme, his DJ, and then also part of the group, Scheme has always been close tied to Juice WRLD and X.
Yeah.
He took a photo of my shirt. He was like, yo, you got the OG shirt on. That's fire. That's crazy. They were in disbelief. And then we chopped it up after. in the back of the stage and shit. But then prior to that, he was DMing me. He's like, yo, I'm gonna change my clothes. He's like, sorry, man, I was just so emotional. He's like, I couldn't believe it. I was about to cry when I saw you, like, and with that shirt on. He's like, every time I see you, you just remind me of X. And I think, and that brought me more to like a realization. I think that's a situation when it comes to Ski Mask. Like, I don't want to force the friendship. I don't want to force the quote unquote interview content with him, because I think that he's just genuinely very emotional when it comes to seeing me. Because he said it in the DM again, and also how he said in person, where he and Ski Mask and X, pardon me, would watch our YouTube channel all the time. He'll watch the videos all the time. He said religiously. And he said that every time he sees me, he gets reminded of that. He says he watches the podcast. He watches the podcast. He knows what's going on. He's up to date with us. He's still a fan. You know, he watches all my posts, he says. So, you know, we love you, brother. We have nothing but love for you. Yeah. But when you're well and ready, I definitely want to have a conversation with you deeper about everything on and off camera. Yeah. Because I think the world needs it, and especially our fan base is so tied and connected to X and you and the whole members only, very rare Florida SoundCloud rapper community, that I think is going to be a healing moment for a lot of people, because there's a lot of questions that people want answers to, and you don't even have to answer them, but at least being presented to them would be very dope. And you're here, bro. You're here with us, even if you're not. Like, you have someone to, you know, we love. That's the thing. Like, we're not, and he knows it. Like, we look at him like family in a sense where it's like, you know, I wish you were more responsive in the past. I wish you don't flake as much as you flaked. You know, your manager, Tariq, I don't know what's good with him, you know, not responding when he wants to respond, being weird with me. Because if you have this much love and admiration, I feel like more respect is needed, right? But when people are so emotional and like they go through so much trauma, you have to take that into consideration. Mm-hmm. You know, they've lost not just X, Juice WRLD, because he did a tribute to Juice WRLD as well. So I witnessed it both. Very traumatic, very sad time, you know. And the whole time I was just like, I felt so weird, and like the energy between me and him, I felt like it was something bigger. It was such a weird thing. It was such a weird, even talking about it is like weird. But I just know it's like, it's all in a positive. Like, it all is bigger. But then that's my conclusion from the night after everything. I'm like, yo, this is what it is. This man is so just like,
a lot of shit going on.
A lot of shit in his mind, like through all that shit, you know? So I was like, I never want to hold nothing against him, and especially now that I'm more familiar with that. But again, brother, you're not alone. Mm-hmm. And it's so weird. Like, we're all humans and undeserved. At the end of the day, that reminds you, like, yes, we loved him. We still love him. We will look up to him. Like, yo, Ski Mask will be dope to meet him one day. And then we get around him, and then he's telling me he's a fan of us. And, like, he's a fan of everything that, you know, he sees me post, and he sees all the posts. And I'm like, damn. It's like, bro, what the fuck? And the way he says it is not even on some, like, pity shit. He says it genuinely on some, like, yo. Like, he's like, yo, I'm thankful for everything you've done. Like, you have no idea. It's like, bro, I'm just genuinely just being me and just showing love. Like, we love you, bro. Like, we just gonna show love. So
that's a fact.
That's a quick insider there for those who didn't know that situation between Ski Mask and us. But, you know, it's like, it was, I didn't even want to take a photo, nothing. I was just chilling. I was like, this is like a crazy.
Nah, man, it's one of those moments where you just gotta take it in, bro. Honestly, and just, you know, living that moment, fucked up, recording the all of that shit. It's just, you know, again, one of the moments where you realize a real human being, you know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. Mm-hmm. Listen, Ski, listen, I wasn't able to meet you the first time, nor the second time. We love you a lot, bro. We really do. You know, we know about you and shit like that, especially through Axe and Juice WRLD. We love all that camp and shit like that. Listen, we know how that shit's tough and shit like that. Y'all can, you know, you can always hit us up, hit up Vic and shit. That shit, we're brothers and shit, we're family, you know. Pull through, we can talk about anything. You know, shit. Fucking mi casa, tu casa, you know what I'm saying? Invite you to all that shit, bro. I don't know, like I said, I've never met this person, but I feel like
there's a connection.
There's a connection, you know what I'm saying? 100%. It's just with all of them people. Honestly, that, I don't know. I've always felt like that through the music and shit like that. I don't know, man. I was listening to X. His songs came up a few weeks ago, and I started trying to sing and shit. That shit, my voice just started cracking and shit. I said, nah, I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I was chilling. That shit came up, bro. That shit just hit me, bro. I was like, fuck, nah, I can't do this shit. It's crazy.
It's real, man.
Crazy.
It's real. You know, we can end it there. You know, enjoy this interview, guys. Quick recap of sports. Fucking Nate Diaz wins, retires, UFC, amazing event. Watch the highlights. I love the fights. Tony Ferguson should retire soon because Jesus Christ, he got beat the fuck up 5 fights losing in a row. Fucking
Patriots got clapped. Yeah.
Patriots got clapped, but aside from that, UFC, the fucking cum shot, they call him cum shot. Cum shot, but it's not cum shot. Hazma. I always forget how to pronounce his name, but man, that guy's a monster. #1 villain in the UFC right now. He's gonna take over the fucking UFC. I feel like because he's so like he doesn't give a fuck. It's almost like bad, but it's good it's good in a sense because he's gonna keep winning and shit. But it's like I'm scared of that motherfucker. I'm not gonna lie to you, but that was a crazy situation with the weight mismatch and like that fight had to reorganize. They fought backstage. It almost was canceled. This whole weekend was the most attention UFC's gotten I think ever, probably since McGregor fought, like the first wild McGregor like event where he made that quick knockout. But aside from that, yeah, the Cowboys fucking trash. The Patriots trash.
Shout out Brady. He won.
Brady, I think Brady's already gonna win the chip. But it's week one. It's week one. Let's not get our let's not get our what do people say? Let's not get our dicks hard already. That's not what people say. That's not our hopes up. I said dicks is what I thought about. It's another H word. Horny, confuse it with high hopes. Yeah. But there we have it, man. I appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Club Ambition out. Podcast out. Continue watch this interview with Jorge Elorza.
Stay off of Broad Street.
Stay off Broad Street. Classic Providence interview right here. Watch it. Welcome to the CA Podcast. Cap. I go by Sound, the host. And today I'm going to be the engineer as well. We have a special guest. So the schedule's kind of aligned for the usual Cap crew, the Cap Corner, my friends and producers of the podcast. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to hold down the fort today. We have a very special guest in the building. When it comes to Providence, Rhode Island, you guys are probably tired of me speaking about it every week. I emphasize, for 7 years, the YouTube channel that I started, now known as Club Ambition. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island, but during the almost exact amount of years, now that I think about it, since he's been our mayor, we've started the YouTube channel. It's 7 years. He was mayor now for about 7.5. 7.5. Oh, might have been to the exact date. But we have him in the building today. He goes by Mayor Jorge Elorza, and
yeah, that's my stage name.
That's the stage name. And ever since the conception of content on YouTube, interviews, everything that I've done, he's always been someone I wanted to sit down and speak to, especially when it comes to the reach that I gain online. I tend to go viral locally, and I know that he is someone that needs to be on this platform at some point. And now we have him, it might be his last interview as a mayor because he's on his way out. But with, our pleasure, welcome here to our studio, Mayor Jorge Elorza.
Well,
thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. And I love the title and the lead, Club Ambition. We should always strive to be the best version of ourselves. So
100%. I appreciate it. You might bring in the mic a little bit closer, just a little bit. Yeah, perfect. All right. So, Mayor, let's start from the beginning when it comes to your story, the background. For those who don't know, might not know your story, where does it start? Where were you born? Where was your neighborhood growing up? What's the background of Jorge Elorza?
Yeah, so born and raised here in Providence. My parents are immigrants from Guatemala. They came in the mid-1970s. Both of them came as undocumented. It was a different time back then, and they came to Providence because Providence had all the jewelry factories, and you could get relatively good paying work and steady work at the factories. So my parents came, my uncles and aunts eventually came, and that whole story. So we grew up in the West End. I grew up on Cranston Street. We lived on the second floor of a triple decker for about 22 years.
Wow.
And so the West End is my home. And I'll tell you, I never thought my life would take me down this road. As I mentioned, factory working parents, undocumented. You only see like a limited world in front of you and limited possibilities. But I've just been so fortunate. I've always had people who believed in me, and really believed in me more than I believed in myself at different points in my life. And I've just been so fortunate and lucky. Whereas I have so many friends, very capable and smart, but they make one mistake, and it just all spirals down after that.
Yeah.
I've done dumb stuff, but thankfully, I've just gotten lucky throughout life, and that's opened up a whole bunch of opportunities, for me to take advantage of.
Yeah, 100%.
So
So when
I'll
it comes
tell
to nationalities, what's your nationality? What's your family?
My family's from Guatemala.
Guatemala, 100%. Both sides.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I'll tell you like two key moments in my life.
Yeah.
And the first one was when I graduated from high school. So, I was a dunce in high school. I was just immature. I wasn't applied, and I barely graduated. So I didn't find out I was graduating until like a couple days before graduation.
What
day.
high school was this again?
Classical.
Classical, yeah.
Yep.
Fellow
And
alumni.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I found out a couple days before that, and so I think I graduated like 250 out of 255. And I remember sitting during my college graduation. All my friends are going away to college, and I just barely made it. I got rejected from every college and university that I applied to, and I'm just kind of zoning out to myself during graduation, and everyone's celebrating, but I felt so awful. I felt like my parents had sacrificed so much. And here I was squandering the opportunity. I felt like I could do so much. I felt capable, like I had it in me, but I just wasn't putting my best foot forward. And so right there, I was 17 years old. I decided that I made a commitment to myself that I would do everything I could for the rest of my life to show the world what I'm capable of, and to make it so that all my parents' efforts wouldn't go in vain. And I'd like to think that I've lived that out as best as I can since that moment. So that's like the first like really key moment in my life.
Yeah.
Then the second turning point came about 4 or 5 years later. So I enrolled at community college because that's the only place that I could get into. And then I was so lucky. There's a program called Talent Development at URI. They gave me a shot, and they're an organization that gets inner city kids into University of Rhode Island. And, I was determined to make the most out of this opportunity. I went from barely graduating from high school to graduating first in my class in the College of Business at the University of Rhode Island.
Wow.
So, I graduated. I took a job with a big consulting accounting firm. I moved to New York City. As far as I thought, I was off to, conquer the world, conquer the Big Apple. But about 9 months into being out there, I got a call from my dad, late at night. One of those calls where bad news is on the other end. So my dad woke me up, and he told me that my friend Jose from Cranston Street, right from across the street, had just been killed.
Wow.
So my friend Jose, he had gone down a bad path. He had just gotten out of jail, and he had a confrontation with someone. They actually killed each other and both stabbed each other to death.
My God.
When I received that news, there was this rush of emotion. I remember it like it was yesterday. I sort of sat up in my bed. I started crying for my friend, of course. And then at some point, I wasn't crying for my friend anymore. I was crying for myself. I felt as though here I was, one of the kids that made it, out of our community, and I wasn't doing anything to give back. In fact, I was following this really selfish, what I thought was a selfish pursuit to find success and make some money in New York. So that night, it was like April 1999, I decided that I was going to leave my job. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be here in Providence. And I wanted to devote the rest of my life to making my community, my city, a better place. So that brought me back to Providence. Eventually, I decided that I wanted to be a lawyer. There really weren't any Latino lawyers at the time. There were like 5 Latino lawyers in the state. This kid who almost didn't make it out of high school, I ended up getting accepted into Harvard.
Wow.
Graduated from Harvard Law School, came back. I represented people who couldn't afford attorneys. From there, I became a law professor, I became a judge, and eventually left that to jump into politics and try to make the world a better place from this position. And that's kind of my story and how I came to be where I am today.
So what was the most prominent position you stood professionally before a mayor? What was it?
I mean, it depends. I mean, I was a housing court judge.
Okay.
Before being a mayor. I was
right.
a law professor before being a mayor.
Okay. Wow. All right. Very, very, very. The story I actually relate to it because coincidentally, I went to classical and then I also went to URI and then I also went to the College of Business and graduated with the College of Business and everything. The only thing is, obviously, you chose a more structured path. I just lucked out and was like followed my heart and just did YouTube, but very, very relatable. It's crazy, the coincidence. I feel like I knew parts of that story, but I didn't know fully the actual breakdown. And for some reason, there was always a rumor that that you were obviously Guatemalan, but that you had some Dominican like lineage because you always appeared to be like Dominican. Do you get that a lot? Like people always thought you were Dominican.
Yeah, I'm honorary Dominican. That's what that's what folks have told me.
Yeah, it's like people, and even with your whole name, like it sounds like it could be a Dominican name, Jorge Elorza. Like it's very very interesting. But growing up, then, did you have one goal and one like dream? Prior to this, like now I want to help my community. You didn't have no set, like you were just like most kids, like us growing up. We kind of want to maybe do something, but in reality, we don't really fulfill that actual answer. We don't know what it actually is. And then eventually, you came to these turning points, or did you have like one thing? Like, did you want to maybe become, an astronaut or something growing up?
Yeah,
baseball player. You're not Dominican, so obviously probably not going to be the answer.
Well, actually, so the only goal that I ever had, the only dream that I ever had as a kid was to be a baseball player.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player.
Wow. Do you have a favorite team? Like, do you watch baseball? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't followed as much anymore, but I was a big, huge Darryl Strawberry fan in New York Mets back in the day.
Yeah.
So that was my dream.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in our position, we ask kids like to envision themselves. What do they want to be, and what do you envision yourself? But it's hard to envision yourself as something that you've never seen before.
100%.
There are no Latino lawyers or professionals in my neighborhood, in my community growing up. I just didn't know that was possible. Didn't know that was a thing that you can you can aspire to that. And it wasn't until, as I mentioned, when I graduated from high school, that I was just, it's one of those moments where you gotta look at yourself in a mirror with honest eyes and do an evaluation. And I was just really upset at myself by where I had allowed myself to get.
Yeah.
I knew I could do more, but doing more only existed in theory. It existed in my head.
100%.
For it to really, I had to make it happen if it was ever actually going to be a thing.
Yeah, you had to put the work in.
Yeah. And before then, I didn't just know enough to believe in myself.
Yeah.
And let alone put the work in, because I didn't know what I'd be working towards.
Yeah.
So it's only like later in life that a world of opportunities have been like opened up, and that I've learned about. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, I'm somebody who, I'm naturally very introverted, just very quiet and introspective. So I think that one quality, one advantage that introverts have is that we're always looking inward.
Yeah.
And when you're honest with yourself, you can never get overconfident, or at least it's harder to get overconfident in yourself, which makes it so that like you always have something to prove.
Yeah.
And having something to prove makes it so you're gonna just like push, like grind, and work even harder. Because you don't want to miss your chance. You're not going to rest on your laurels, right?
Yeah.
And I've had that, my whole life. So when I started at CCRI, I was like, man, this is college. Can I hack it? I don't know, but I'm going to work my butt off. Worked really hard, did well. Then I went to URI.
Yeah.
All right. I had done well at CCRI, but this is real college now.
Yeah.
Can I hack it here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Going to grind, going to work my butt off.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing when I started working in New York, when I went to Harvard Law School, when I started as an attorney, every part of my life. And so, what I've come to learn about myself is that, you don't get to this point where you're just confident that you're going to be successful in everything that you do. And in fact, if you get to that point, it's probably dangerous, really, you always got to have that little bit of self-doubt. You can't get too comfortable with yourself. And that's going to make you always make sure you don't take anything for granted, that you keep pushing, and that you outwork the competition. And once you do that, success comes from that. So, I'm not someone who is just like naturally gifted and it comes easy to me. In fact, it's the opposite. And I know that it doesn't come easy to me, so I know I got to work for it. And I think that's something that a lot of people from our backgrounds, and they can they identify with that. It resonates. Yeah, things don't come easy to us.
I agree with that 100%. And when it comes to your term, first of all, how old are you now currently? Right now, what is your age?
How old am I? 45? Yeah, 45. I'm going to be 46 this year.
Okay. And then how long did you serve? At least now when the term fully ends, how long is that gonna be fully?
So it's going to be 8 full years. This
years.
is the end of my second term. So I've been there 7.5 years, or almost 8 years now. So 3 more months, it'll be 8 full years.
Wow.
And then I'll be done. I can't run for re-election again.
Because the limit is two
That's
terms.
right.
Yeah, 8 years in total. All right. And when it comes to people of my actual age group, there's always a thing online. I want to get your perspective on it and get your raw, real opinion on it, specifically because you've actually been on the other side of it. So from people who are looking outside into politics, there's always things with, millennials, I guess, for lack of a better term, saying that there's so much corruption. It's very corrupt. I don't care about politics. Everything's corrupt. Politics are corrupt. What is your opinion when it comes to that? Because you are actually a politician, and you served for almost a decade being a politician here in Rhode Island.
Yeah, that's a great question. I have a lot of different thoughts about it. The first thing that comes to mind is that, there's good reason why people believe that, because there is a lot of corruption. And sometimes it's not like the illegal kind of corruption, but sometimes it's like the structural corruption. Lobbyists that, they make contributions to you, and so when you make decisions, you lean in their favor. There's that kind of stuff too, and that's like slimy in and of itself, even though it's not illegal. So there's good reason why people think that. But I'll tell you from my experience, there are two kinds of people in politics. There are people that are into politics because they want to be important, right? They really want their name out there, and it's wrapped up in their identity. It's really important to have your name called out in public, etc. And then there are also a lot of people in politics that really want to get stuff done. People that have like this purpose, this vision, this agenda. Yeah. And it's important to segregate those folks out. You spend a little bit of time with folks, and you just kind of size up, a person, and you get a good sense. Are they really about the work and agenda, or is it really like inflating their ego? The folks that inflate their ego, those are folks that really turn us off to politics. But I feel I can say this because I've been there. Writing off like all of politics, throwing out the baby with the bathwater, just because you do have those distasteful elements in it, is a lazy thing to do. There are a lot of good people that are working really hard to make the world a better place. And when I think about young people's engagement in politics, I know a lot of people don't track it, don't follow, and don't plan to vote. The way that I think about this is that I don't think that like voting is like the most important thing to do. I see voting as the least you can do. It's not that difficult. Do a little bit of research, pay a little bit of attention, and then have a schedule, have a plan, and go out and vote on election day. That's the least that we can ask for folks. Yeah. There's a lot of other stuff that you can do. You can really get involved in a campaign. You can get involved in an issue. You can really make a difference in the world. And whether you like it or not, like politics or not, politics are a reality of the world. And if you want to get stuff done, you have to know how to maneuver yourself within the political environment. And so, even though a lot of young folks don't participate in politics, I do know that young folks care very deeply about the direction that the world and our community is going in. And so, you got to square that circle. For folks who have that deep passion in our world and care about others, politics isn't the only arena to get involved in, but you do have to get involved in this arena to some extent or another.
And a perfect question to add to that. So when it comes to local voting, in my opinion, I think it's definitely more significant than overall nationwide voting when it comes to certain cases. Can you break down locally for the people of Rhode Island or Providence, Rhode Island, why local voting, and in general, people across the entire country, why local voting matters in comparison to just presidential voting? Because a lot of people only care about voting for the president, but they don't realize that you obviously can vote for the local actual politicians that can make changes in your day-to-day life in your own city.
Yeah, that's a great question because, we live, the whole electoral college system, we live in a deep blue state. The reality is that our vote for president really doesn't matter, right? It's only in the swing states where it actually makes a difference. But the place where your vote really makes a difference, there have been cases. In fact, I know people who have lost by one vote.
Wow.
Many elections, they get decided by like 50 votes. That's like you and your group of friends. You could decide who the next rep, senator is going to be.
100%.
So you can make a really, really big difference. The other thing is that, national politics it sucks up all of the attention. National politics is important, but national politics is also, it's less about substance and it's so much about just the performance of it. And you see the talking heads that go back and forth, just debating, or not even debating, just like yelling at each other. And folks think that that's what politics is. But that's far from the reality at the local level, especially at the mayor level. We always say that there are three main political parties in the United States. There are Republicans, there are Democrats, and there are mayors. And mayors are just focused on getting stuff done. So, do you care about, the trash being picked up in your neighborhood, about a pothole getting fixed soon enough? Do you care about crime and safety? Do you care about summer programs for kids? If you care about all these things, you should care a lot more about what happens in local elections than for most of us voting in presidential elections, where it doesn't matter whether we vote or not, the electoral college votes are going to the same person.
Yeah. And speaking of local, when it comes to Providence, there's been a thing that I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you brought into actual action was the key to the city. When it comes to the Providence key to the city, what are the attributes that someone needs to, like, how can I get to the key to the city? What are the determining factors that makes you actually decide that ultimate decision?
There's no set criteria for it, and, it's really subjective. What we try to do is celebrate people that either have some connection to Providence or have done something really significant here in Providence, and just have an appropriate way to celebrate them. The tradition of handing keys to the city, that goes back to like medieval times, where people lived in not caged, but in walled cities. And, if you are banished to the outside, you were just off to the wilderness. You were pretty much left to die. And so, there was danger out there, and only the most trusted, most respected people within that community had that key to the city. So symbolically, it's people who have the highest level of trust and respect that that we want to that we want to recognize.
Yeah.
Especially in a time where we're looking at who we put on pedestals. Who has statues of themselves throughout the country. It's very difficult to build statues, but that doesn't mean we can't figuratively put on pedestals people who do really significant things by recognizing them with these keys to the city.
100%. And obviously, the keys don't open anything. It's a more of a figurative, commemorative type of gesture.
Yeah,
right?
although they do open a safe in City Hall that has a lot of money. So I shouldn't have said that, but yeah.
The cat's out the bag. And speaking of more local situations, when it comes to even more recent times, the development of bike lanes, I believe this was something that was happened under your terms. What has been, or let's start from the beginning, the idea, the conception, what made you decide to do this? Because there's been definitely a lot of backlash, a lot of, feedback on it. Even myself personally, I felt sometimes where it's like, well, why? I get the bike lane, but I'm like, why is it here? Like, what are the determining factors for it to be at this actual location? You know, as of late, Broad Street has been like a very controversial one because people aren't really obliging by the actual structure of the streets. People are still double parking on the bike lanes and everything. So bike lanes in Providence, Rhode Island, Mayor Jorge Elorza, why were they here? Why are they here? Why were they actually installed?
So there's a lot of reasons for that. You know, when you look at the way that our city is designed for cars and not always for people. You know, when you ask people, you know, you go to our countries, people are a lot more accustomed to walking down the street. You know, it's part of the daily routine. But here, if we're going to the corner, we hop in our cars, like drive to the corner. It's just a total waste. You know, and we've done a lot of surveys and asked people, you know, would you, if it was safer to do so, would you know, walk to the corner or would you ride a bike? And people overwhelmingly say yes. So we know that this is something that people want. But part of the challenge is like, how do you get started? You know, to really get the entire city invested into bike lanes and bike infrastructure, you can't just build one bike lane. It has to be throughout the city.
Yeah.
And it's like this chicken and an egg thing. Do we install bike lanes before more people are using their bicycles, or do we wait until, you know, people are using their bicycles? And what we know is that you got to start somewhere. So that's what we've done. We have this really ambitious program to put bike lanes, you know, in every part of the city. And you know, I think that once it's built out and more people are on their bikes, there's going to be less need for parking. People are going to get around more often on their bicycles or on their scooters or, you know, on you know, any of these like new devices. And it's going to create more of the kind of city that we want to live in. The last thing that I'll say is that when it comes to bike lanes, Providence is at least 10 years late to the party. You know, these aren't new. They're new in Rhode Island, but you go anywhere, you go to Europe, you go other places in the United States, and these bike lanes have been fully built out, and they're always a hit. You know, it's not just in warm weather communities. You go to Minneapolis. Minneapolis is known for having just an incredible bike system. You go to Montreal, they have an incredible protected bike lane system. And people weave that into, you know, their daily, you know, their daily life.
Yeah.
So we're taking a significant step, you know, during my term, but this is work that needs to continue for like the next 10 years to catch up. But once we have it all built out, it's going to be, you know, frankly, a city that aligns more with the kind of place that we all want to live in.
And speaking of the city, also, you know, this might not be a fact, but in my head, it's a fact. When it comes to your term as mayor, I feel like you might have broken the record for like the most construction like Providence has ever seen, right? And obviously, there's people where they see both sides. They're like, oh, at the end of the day, once it's all done, it's going to be beautiful, but there's so much frustration with the traffic it's caused in the recent, I would say, it feels like the 2 years has been almost more prominent than ever and almost like a speed up in the construction, it feels like. So what is your response to that when it comes to this decision? Was it something that you made? Was it a collective decision where it's like, this construction is necessary in these specific areas, we got to get to it? What is the actual, you know, breakdown of that? Because, for example, even I know there's a lot of signs where it says a budget and it says like, this is the budget that we spent on this specific bridge or this specific area, gonna be done by this specific season and year, and it's not always on point. Sometimes, obviously, that passes and then it's still not done. I know on Reservoir, there's a bridge that's been. That Reservoir bridge has been what a headache. That bridge has been like so. Oh my God, people. You know, they need that fixed, but
that's the state's fault, by the way.
That's the state's fault. All right. We gotta ask McKee or whoever the next.
That's right.
The next governor becomes. But yeah, break down the construction in Providence, Rhode Island under the terms that Mayor Jorge Elorza has served.
Yeah, so we did an analysis of this recently, and we totaled up about $3.5 billion of new construction during my time in office.
Wow.
We don't have the records going all the way back, but I think that's a record.
Yeah.
So let me say a couple things about that. You know, I think that growth is good. It lifts up our economy, it lifts up the tax base, and generally that's just good. Over the past year, maybe 2 years, one flip side to this, an unintended consequence, is we've seen that Providence is a hot city. People want to live here. And one of the consequences of that is that house prices and rents have just shot through the roof. I mean, it's just incredible to see what's happened over the past couple of years. And so one of the challenges that we're now facing is that, the people that make Providence, like what makes the city special, is at risk of being priced out. And I don't think anybody wants to see that. Actually, that's not true. People that I affiliate don't want to see that. Mm-hmm. And that's a major problem that we need to address. So while all the development has been great, we got to make sure that development happens in a way that is inclusive and also creates affordable housing opportunities, so that our people, the people who have raised their families here, the people that have been here during the tough times, they're the ones that actually benefit by this upward trajectory that we're on. And it's just not right if all new housing or all new housing opportunities are going to either students at the universities, to Airbnb, or to investors from Brooklyn or from Boston. If we keep going down that route, we're going to end up like Portland, Seattle, Austin, cities that have a tough time just keeping that element, that intangible element that has made them special.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. I know, because I'm definitely in tune with all the local commentary on social media when it comes to Providence, and people have definitely, whether they're homeowners, people looking to move into houses, current tenants, the complaints have been through the roof of the prices and the averages of the current rent. It might be, I'm not sure, it might be record breaking. I feel like it's never really been,
it's
at least
never
in
been high like this.
Yeah, it's never been this
crazy.
high. Yeah, so, and a quick more to add on that. So what do you think needs to happen, or what can happen? Obviously your term's ending, but what can happen, and who might be in position to make the change happen when it comes to the actual price of rent, specifically in Rhode Island?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, there's no one simple thing to do. It has to be like a little bit of everything. So, yes, we need to build more affordable housing. Everyone is for it. Everyone gets behind it. But that's just like plain Jane vanilla. We also need to look at the role of Airbnb, right? How many units are being taken off the market? We got to look at the role of universities housing their kids on campus, right? Every kid that lives off campus, that's another unit that gets taken off. You also asked about, what about the future? One of the candidates for mayor, Gonzalo Cuervo, came out with this really bold proposal to make housing more affordable and to make the development of new housing a lot easier. I give him a lot of credit for putting that out there. It's the only honest proposal that's been put out there to address what is an absolute crisis. You're talking about rents going from $1,200 to $1,800 overnight.
Yeah,
those are unheard of.
Yeah,
prices of rent in our community, but they're happening, and they're happening overnight.
Yeah,
and so we need really honest, genuine, bold proposals. Gonzalo has put a really bold proposal out there, and that's why I support him and endorse him. And hopefully he's going to be the next mayor to make sure that what makes Providence special, what makes us love what Providence is, gets preserved and doesn't get priced out.
And when it comes to Providence, recently, literally a couple days removed from the massive flooding, again, I feel like this year has been so many potential record breaking. We've obviously had, Warwick Mall being flooded in 2010, a lot of wild Rhode Island history, weather history, but specifically this week was very, very, it went viral, the clips and everything that I even captured on my phone. A lot of people are blaming not just, whether it's global warming, whether it's just, weather being weather, or the concept of the sewage systems in the city, whether they're being, overflowed, whether they need to be updated. What is your reaction to this actual situation that's currently happening?
Yeah, this is a big challenge that I think is going to become just a lot more like frequent in the coming years. You know, our system just isn't designed to handle that much rain in that short a period of time. To give you a perspective, so we got well over 6 inches. In fact, some parts of Providence, some parts of Elmwood got about 8 inches.
Wow.
But let's say 6 inches.
Yeah, average.
So usually the conversion is, 1 inch of rain equals 7 to 10 inches of snow. So if 6 inches of snow on the low end, on the conservative end, that would have been 46 inches of snow.
Wow.
I mean, that's insane, that amount. And, with these flash floods, so take Warwick, for example. Warwick had about half of an inch. Warwick is 10 minutes out. It got half of an inch of snow. So, like, we're that close. Half of an inch in rain would have been like about 3 inches of snow.
Yeah.
42 inches versus 3 inches.
Yeah.
These flash floods, they're part of weather patterns that are new, or at least more frequent, more powerful. And our systems are just not designed to handle that capacity of water.
Yeah.
So as they do become more frequent, the mayor and the governor and city and state leaders, we got to think about different ways of addressing these issues. And what's crazy about it is that, so perhaps what's most on our mind right now is the rain, but a week before, what was most on our mind was the lack of rain.
Yeah, the drought.
The drought, absolutely. So it's like at the same time, it's the driest of times, it's the wettest of times, and these extreme shifts, sort of whiplash, in our weather, it's just going to become more frequent, and we need to take climate change more seriously.
Yeah.
The awesome power of nature and the consequences if we don't do our part to protect it.
Yeah, I think it's very, very, very crucial. Like, an example was today. Like, I was out on Broad Street, and the heat from the sun was very, very hotter than it's been in the past couple days, and it must have actually made the pavement so hot that you can smell the pavement, and the streets smelled so much like sewage from the water that obviously flooded it. And I was like, wow, this is really crazy. And in parts of Manton have that similar smell. And I was like, yep, this is something that we definitely need to, going forward, pay attention to, because I know a lot of people were, pissed, especially if your car was in the water. I know I-95, that image of I-95 South alone being, shut down has to be one of the craziest images in the history of Rhode Island. Seeing that, it literally was like a lake, and people were swimming to their cars. I've never seen nothing like it. So hopefully something definitely gets done when it comes to that. But speaking of also Providence, Rhode Island, me being a resident of Providence, Rhode Island my entire life, 24 years of living, there's always been criticism from the outside, and to be blunt, more white populated cities in Rhode Island when it comes to Providence. What is your opinion on that? The people that sort of have this, or they actually pass judgment on the cities, the inner city, Providence, Rhode Island, and they point at situations like this year and last year. I think the past 3 years has been obviously a good amount of shootings happening in the city. What is your reaction to, people's backlash and sort of down talking Providence but still living in Rhode Island?
Yeah, so every city in the United States is surrounded by a ring of suburbs that has people who say those exact same things about the central city, and I think a lot of those beliefs about the inner city are rooted in stereotypes of the 1980s, 70s, the 80s, the 90s. Massive levels of disinvestment, and when you talk about crime and safety in our cities, that was really the low point or high point, depending how you think about it. But the worst point was back in the late 1980s, early 1990s. That's the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
For perspective, robberies are down over the past 11 years, something like, I want to say 70%. Burglaries are down 80%. I mean, To reduce it 70%, to reduce it 80% is unheard of. When we just announced we're having one of the safest summers. Actually, summer's over, right? Labor Day. We had perhaps the safest summer in terms of violent crime in our city's history, at least as far back as our records go. We were just featured. You can go online. The cities where homicides have declined the most in 2022. Number 1 on that list, Providence, Rhode Island.
Wow.
And so, that's the reality. But the impressions that people have, the perceptions that people have are, I'm sure you ask people, half the folks would say, oh, it's as bad as it's ever been. Like there's a shooting on every street corner.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not true.
Yeah.
That's just not true. It was bad during the pandemic. Like things really got out of control, and it was crazy for about 18 months. But things are stabilizing and sort of back under control once again. And so when it comes to public safety, it's this thing that people tend to live in the suburbs for a reason. They're seeking out a different way of life. City is denser. You run into people all the time. You got to share space, and it's just like part of the hustle and the bustle. But folks who live in the suburbs, no judgment.
Yeah.
They just have a different lifestyle. The detached single family home. Folks don't have front porches anymore. Now they have like backyards with like high fences. They're seeking out that privacy and security. Mm-hmm. Just a whole different way of living. And when you haven't experienced what the city is, you go by what you see on social media. You go by the news, and if you're attuned to that, you're going to see it everywhere. Yeah. But the reality on the ground is that, Providence today, 2 points, and I think they're both really important. Providence today is probably safer than it ever has been, at least in one generation or two. We're talking like 50, 60 years. So it's safer today than it was. And second, when you compare Providence as a legit mid-sized city, we're one of the safest mid-sized cities in the entire country. So whether you compare Providence to Providence of the past, or whether you compare Providence today to other cities today, like we're as safe as it gets. And so just making sure that people's perceptions match the reality, that's a constant challenge.
And can you break down, recently we saw in the news you had a $10 million reparations plan. Briefly explain to the people that are listening what it is that you are proposing, the entire plan, and will it be executed, and what are the next steps after as well?
Yeah. So this has been 2 years in the making. So we've had a lot of people working really hard on this for a long time. It started off with truth. So we published this 200-page book on the truth of our city's history with race and our treatment of the black community. So we've identified it, we documented it. Then we went from truth to reconciliation. We don't want this book and information to just live on a shelf. We want people to engage with it. And we want to remind folks that history isn't just a thing of the past. It's something that actively shapes the present. So people are still impacted by it. And so we draw out those stories and just bring more people into the conversation. And then the third phase of this is the reconciliation process. So reparations. So truth, reconciliation, and reparations.
Yep.
So with reparations, we've set aside $10 million. We created a committee. And really the radical thing that we've done is that we've actually empowered black voices to determine how these resources are going to be invested. That's the radical part about it. Whereas, blacks have been excluded and kept away from decision-making tables, we're doing the exact opposite. Now, with that said, we've said from the very beginning, $10 million is not enough. That's just like a down payment. Mm-hmm. And I hope that this work continues on into the future. And that'll depend on the next mayor and next leadership here in the city. But we hope that this is just the beginning of our city's long-term commitment to this work. The other thing that we're hoping is that this becomes a model for other institutions, other universities, and other levels of government to take on this work as well. So we know we can't do it alone. We need the state to do it. We need the federal government to do it. But we also need institutions like, wealthy universities to do their part in reparations. So the movement has to start somewhere. And, we're proud to be on the front lines of doing this work.
Pardon the interruption, a quick weekly promo advertisement placement right here. We wanted to spotlight this person, especially when it comes to Providence, Rhode Island, and Rhode Island in general, the state. A friend reached out, and we have her here. Introduce yourself to the people, who you are first.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're listening to this. My name is Torlo Kamasa Amos, also known as Core to many people. I am running for state representative in District 5, which is Charles, Elmhurst, and Woonsocket. So I'm here to just let people know that I'm running and the reason why I'm running.
And for those residents of Providence, Rhode Island in general, who do live specifically in District 5, why should they vote for you right now?
Listen, people are not taking advantage of the power that they have. We're leaving our power on the table. And by voting the right person in, we can be making major changes in our development, in our economics, and our education of our children. We wait too long until after elections to start asking the new representatives or the new senators for things. But right now, because I've been in politics, I've done policy-driven campaigns, I understand quote-unquote politics, or I understand how to get things done because I have that experience. For many years, I wasn't in the community, and I thank God for that. I was able to step back and see what people wanted and needed. I myself am a testimony to that. After losing my insurance, almost losing my home, losing my job because of a medical condition. So once I got better, by the grace of God, had a double lung transplant 2 years ago, I said, hey, I understand what people are going through now, especially after COVID. Same thing. You've lost somebody, you've lost your housing, maybe your job, you had to get laid off of your job, your health insurance wasn't what you thought it was when COVID hit. All of those things need to be implemented or changed by policies and by putting the right person in. And I'm hoping I'm the right person for District 5. In fact, I'm not hoping, I know I'm the right person for District 5. Then I know I can help people make those changes, only if they're willing to work with me. So I know I can't do it by myself. I'm not making any promises to say, hey, I'm in here to make changes for you. I'm in here to work with you, with my community, because that's what I know what to do.
Perfect. And when can people go and vote for you, and where specifically? Can you tell the people who might not know?
Absolutely. So know that in Rhode Island, since COVID hit, we have opened up mail-in ballots. So 20 days before September 13th. September 13th is voting day. But 20 days before that, you can already vote in person or do your mail-in ballot. The last day for mail-in ballots to register for mail-in ballots is August 14th. So don't forget it. Do not forget it, because you're leaving, again, your power on the table.
Perfect. And any last message to the people of Rhode Island in general, because hopefully if you do win, you're going to be a state representative. What's your message to the people of Rhode Island right now listening?
I want to let the people know that I'm going to be accessible to them. I want to be that representative that you can call. My number is 401-217-9998. Remember, as 99, 98, the best years of my life. So that, again, is 401-217-9998. I want to hear ideas. I want people to converse with me. We need to open up conversations. Although I have a platform, I definitely want minimum wage increase, especially with inflation. I want to see better quality education in our schools, especially after the state took over. And I want to see better health care. So right now, as young people, or even people my age, you think everything's all right. It takes one life change, whether it's even having a baby right now, or it's having what I had, a terminal lung disease, to let you know that, oh, wow, this health insurance isn't what I thought. Because even with health insurance, my lung transplant was $1 million in 2020. After that, we also had to raise an additional $10,000 to cover things that weren't covered by my insurance.
Wow.
Yep. So that is what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for the common people that have been through something similar, or don't even know that these things are even possible until they get there. I don't want my community to get there and then be at destitution. And that's the same thing with, like, I can go on rent relief, How are you going to give people rent relief money and then still be hiking up the prices of rent? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So we need things that make sense for the people to be able to prosper in Providence. People called it a plantation. We got rid of that name. But remember, if we're starting off new and we're planting new seeds, we're starting a new plantation, not of slavery, but of freedom. And your freedom is with your vote. So I'm telling people, vote. And I'm asking people to vote for me. Torlo Commissar Amos, also known as Core, for District 5, House Representative. I want to thank you, Victor, for having me on the show today and just giving you a little idea of who I am and letting the people know what I'm about. So thank you so much. I'm praying for you guys that you guys are going to blow up. I already see your YouTube award over there, so I already know I'm in a good spot.
I appreciate you. I respect it. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time today, Core. And back to the podcast. Appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
When it comes to, on a lighter side of things, when it comes to, I always typically ask my guests, like, because they tend to either be a rapper or affiliated with a rapper, what's their favorite rapper? I'm not sure. Do you specifically listen to hip hop? But do you have a favorite rapper if you listen to rap, or just in general, if you want to broaden it to musician?
Yeah, I love music. I've always loved music. I mentioned earlier that, I'm a natural introvert and very introspective. So I've always liked rappers that are more sort of heady, more, just kind of heady in their music.
Yeah.
Growing up, my favorite was the GZA from Wu-Tang.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love everyone on Wu-Tang, but the GZA is always the one that I gravitated towards the most. Huge Jay-Z fan. Yeah. So, I was big on him until, he dumbed down his lyrics and doubled his dollars. After that, when he, I always liked the underground stuff. When he got real commercial, I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so, who I listen to in hip hop, I'm stuck in the 1990s. After a certain time, I just continue to listen to the stuff that I always did. But I'll tell you, the one more modern rapper that I've really gotten into is Lil Wayne. And what I love about Lil Wayne is the dude just oozes artist. And I've always had just deep respect for just talented artists. He is he's an unmatched lyricist. He's incredibly creative, and I like him, and I listen to him a lot.
That's cool. Another thing we both relate on. I think that's arguably the best rapper of all time, but that's my favorite rapper of all time. It's
Lil Wayne.
Definitely Lil Wayne.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
100%. Especially because of the fact that he just doesn't really write anything down. It's off the top of his head, basically freestyle or just mental noted. So I find so much talent in that. He's like a poet. He's a poet. He's literally a poet. Yeah. But since we are the creative capital, and speaking of rappers, there's a lot of rappers up and coming in the city and in Rhode Island in general that are maybe seeking potential aid, whether it's financial or just a place to be more creative in the city. What is your opinion and reaction to that when it comes to being the creative capital, and what can the creative capital, Providence, Rhode Island, what can, if not you because your term is ending, but what can whoever is in a position to make something happen do, in your opinion, to aid these up-and-coming creatives in the actual creative capital?
So there's a lot that we try to do to support all of our performing artists. So we have a department called the Arts, Culture, Tourism Department, and there are a lot of grants. We put on a lot of events, and we bring in local artists. But I'll tell you, one thing that I'm really, really proud of is with the American Rescue Plan dollars. Remember Joe Biden, the federal money that came in. So we got about $160 million, and one of the big chunks goes to supporting the arts. I think we're one of the few cities in the country that put so much of an emphasis on the arts. We know that artists were just devastated and impacted so much through COVID. And so we have a number of grants that we're putting out there, and we want as many people to apply as possible. So if anyone is interested in that's listening to this, please get in touch with my office, the Office of Arts, Culture, and Tourism, ACT. Connect with them and see how we can support what you're doing.
And a question that, shout out to Travis Escobar from Millennial, Rhode Island, one of my friends. He definitely helped provide any insight he had when it comes to, it was a very important interview, so he wanted to maybe relay some questions. He reminded me, he said, can you explain the state's takeover of Providence education and why changing teacher contracts is so significant and important?
Yeah. All right. So just to be blunt and explicit, our schools are awful. Our schools are awful.
Grade wise or performance wise or the
performance-wise.
staff wise?
Well, just performance wise.
Performance wise, okay.
Performance wise, and let me be clear about one thing. It's not because people aren't trying, and it's not because people are awful. We have so many people working their butts off. Teachers, administrators, principals, superintendents, like everyone is working, well, not everyone. Like a whole lot of people are working really, really hard and they're doing their best. But the problems are structural. So we have a contract that doesn't allow principals to actually run and manage their own schools. We have a contract that doesn't let the superintendent or the mayor actually run the district. And we have a contract that doesn't incentivize teachers in the right way. So the problems are structural, and you can bring in new people. You can bring in capable, prepared, knowledgeable people. But unless you change the structure, really nothing is going to change. So that's why we need to change the contract. We need to do it so that, kids come first, and everything that we do is always aligned with what is going to be best for kids. Unfortunately, we have a contract that does what's best for adults. Mm-hmm. So that's why we brought the state in. The city doesn't have the power to just change the contract, but given state law, the state does have the power, or at least did have the power, to change that contract. Unfortunately, with the change of new governor coming in, they didn't take advantage of that ability to change the contract, and so we're stuck with basically the same thing that we've had for the past 40 years. And if things continue the way they are, I unfortunately have to say that things in our school department are going to be just as bad for the next 40 years as they've been for the previous 40 years. It's something that we simply cannot allow to happen. I have about 3.5 months left as mayor, but I am not done fighting on the education stuff, and I'm not going anywhere. In fact, I have a kid that's about to enter the public schools, and as a parent, I intend to continue fighting this fight. Because, the way that I think about this is that, I mentioned my parents are immigrants, and somehow or another, we were all immigrants at one point. Immigrants give up everything and make every sacrifice to come to this country, and they do it so that their kids have a better life. And they put all of their hopes and dreams into our public schools, only to realize several years into it that the schools are actually failing their kids. And for so many of our families that we don't have the money to move to Barrington, we don't have the money to enroll our kids at Moses Brown, we don't have the money to pay for tutors, we don't have the money to pay for homeschooling, we're stuck with this system. So everything about us, everything, our hopes and dreams that brought us to this country, they're being dashed in our public school system. That's unacceptable. No one should ever feel comfortable with that. And that's why that's something we need to continue to raise awareness about and keep fighting for. The last point that I'll mention on this is that I think that what we're suffering from in our schools throughout our city right now is that we've never known better. Once you show people what better is, there's no way they're going to take second-rate stuff like they have in the past. Many of our charter schools are showing families what better is and what better can look like. And that's why we have thousands and thousands of families every year signing up for the charter lotteries. Unfortunately, it's a lottery and not everyone gets in. And I believe more than ever that we need to expand these high-quality charter schools so that poor families, they have choices just like wealthy families. Our one option should not be, this traditional public school system that hasn't been cutting it for 30 and 40 years. We should have choices and options too, and that's what charter schools provide.
Yeah, well, definitely. I agree with that perspective, where it's you definitely, if I can only afford to live in this area, and this is the school because of the district, you're not that selective. You can't, you have to, have your child go to this specific school. We want the best. It doesn't mean just because it's public and it's free, it's supposed to be shitty and bad. It's supposed to, still be something that a parent can be proud of their child to go into. So I agree with that stance. Now, looking back, wrapping up the interview a bit, when it comes to your actual terms, a couple things when it comes to looking back at it, now in a retrospective. Obviously, you're still serving, but in a retrospective sense, when it became, actually a real idea of you running, you ran against a legendary figure in Rhode Island, Buddy Cianci. Can you kind of look back now at that time, and do you have any, crazy or just interesting story, dealing with that pressure, and also during that time in general of knowing, because he's now, passed, knowing Buddy Cianci while he was still here?
I mean, a couple stories come to mind. So on the day that it was clear, when I was running the first time, on the day that it was clear that I was going to win the primary and that I was going to face him in the general election, I wake up and go to my car, and my front windshield is busted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's the kind of people he associated with. That's the element that he brought into city government, and something that is just awful, awful for the city.
That must have been scary. Like, you must have been like, okay, now, all right, this is what I might be dealing with going forward or something. What was your mindset at that point?
I grew up on Cranston Street.
Yeah.
That didn't scare me. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is, when the general election did come, and, we got into debates. I remember my first debate with him, I was a little bit nervous, thinking, all right, here's the legend, right? Here's, like, the master of the craft. And then, like, I heard, what he was proposing. I was like, come on. Like, you gotta do better than this. This is like the 21st century. Like, we're past that. We're beyond it. And there I realized that I had the advantage. I had like a broad policy agenda. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew about the city. I had my vision. I could articulate it. And I felt that. I felt confident after that first debate. I could see that in some ways he, was still kind of like reliving the glory days of the past. But you can't sit still. You gotta advance, or the world leaves you behind. Yeah. And I just felt that it was time for new leadership in the city.
Yeah, very classic campaign that you guys both ran. I remember that time. Now, also looking back, what has been, during your terms as Providence, Rhode Island mayor, the number one complaint you received from Providence residents, or in general, the number one complaint you've always heard and remember, like, this is always an issue?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's one complaint, but I'll just make like a general observation about complaints. So, it's this balance that you have to navigate. Like, on the one hand, you always have to make yourself open to the public. So, you keep your ear to the ground and you know what's happening, right? Like your finger on the pulse. On the other hand, though, you definitely can't be on Twitter or social media. Like, that's just like a death spiral. And to a certain extent, you got to shut out the noise. So navigating that balance is a tricky thing that each mayor needs to do right. But nowadays, you can't do anything without someone having really strong emotions about it. But what's different today than it was in the past is that now with social media, everyone has a megaphone. And what I've come to realize is that it may seem like there's a lot of angry people complaining about a certain thing, but social media is not real life. It's not the real world. And if whatever decision you make is going to get a whole bunch of people like really upset, then in some counterintuitive way, it's kind of liberating. If folks are going to be upset, then you might as well just do what you think is the right thing to do. You know, people that hate a decision you make this week, they'll love a decision you make the next week. And that's the way that I've approached my job as mayor. You know, I've tried to keep my ear to the ground, but at the same time, my job as mayor is to be a leader. My job is not to follow public opinion. My job is to shape public opinion. And what I owe to voters is not to do what they want me to do in every single instance. You know, the commitment that I made and what I owe to voters is to use my best judgment. And that's what I've tried to exercise in every decision I've made.
And when it comes to your memory, we already had the craziest experience or first memory that came to mind during the Buddy Cianci, running. But overall, when you were Providence Rhode Island, what's the number one, interesting thing that you're going to always take away, like looking back at this, 10 years from now, like, wow, I remember when I was the mayor and this situation happened. What's that one situation that comes to mind, if any?
You know, sometimes I have a bad memory sometimes. Like, I forget stuff.
You do it a lot. I can't blame you. You do it so much on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, there's only so much you could like keep in your mind at a time. And
yeah.
I'm intense when I'm into something, so I can tell you, everything what's going on right now. But
or your favorite thing, let's say then. What's the favorite thing of being, Providence Rhode Island mayor?
My favorite thing? I don't know. It's just so hard. Like, so many things come to mind. The first time we did PVD FEST was real special.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
which you helped introduce, right? Yeah, under your term. Yep.
So, this is back in 2015, and along those times, there was still a lot of talk and a lot of chatter about like, it's dangerous out there. You can't do these outdoor events because, like stuff's gonna pop off. And as we planned it, we're like, we can't let fear like keep us from, celebrating who we are. So we jumped in to do it, and I didn't know how it was gonna go. I didn't know if anyone was gonna show up. I didn't know if if it was going to be a great time. But I remember I had some events early in the day, and then I arrived at downtown Washington Street, maybe around 2 or 3 o'clock. And I'm looking down, there's a slight hill on Washington Street, and I see this mass of people lining the entire street. And, I'll always remember that, and just thinking like, this is our city. This is absolutely our city. It's the arts that brought us all together, and it was a free event. Everyone was welcome. Everyone was there. And when you think about the layout of our city, there's no one place that everyone throughout the city feels connected to. Usually you travel to Latin America, or you travel to European cities. There's the main square. There's La Plaza, a big like Catholic church, like in the at the head of it. But there's like the square that everyone, that's where you come together. That's the civic center. We don't have that. We've had that as Kennedy Plaza, but Kennedy Plaza is the state's like bus station. We could do better than that. And to tie up this thought, what I am trying to do, and hopefully the seed will be there. I want Kennedy Plaza to be a public park. I want to move the buses out of there and create like just a much better, much more convenient, frankly, much more humane bus station. But have Kennedy Plaza just be a beautiful park in the center that everyone feels connected to. This idea that if you're older, you're younger, you're anything in between, go to Kennedy Plaza. That's where you hang out. There's stuff to do there. And there's going to be people, there's going to be activities, and it's safe and it's fun. That's what we need in our city, that place that literally brings everyone together, our civic center that I'm hoping to create. So we have some investments coming up that we'll be announcing in the next couple of months. And hopefully the next mayor and the mayor after that, they continue these investments to make sure that we have, that place that brings everyone together.
100%. And I'll add this, since we are talking about construction in the city, for whoever's listening who might make this a possibility in the upcoming future, whenever, I think it's something that definitely could be implemented and should be implemented when it comes to being a resident here. I think when it comes to these ideas of constructions and developments, if they were potentially, especially once they're in plan and stated to actually start and commence, if they were like put online in some sort of digital mock-up, or almost in a cartoon style where people can see it. Like,
we got that.
Oh, you do?
We'll send you the link for that. Yeah.
All right. So
the development happening throughout the city. You could click on it and get a sense.
And this is for, because a lot of people were questioning about that recently. I saw it online, and this is for, like, even let's say exit 22 is under construction, whatever. You get to see how it's gonna possibly be developed.
Well, that's state stuff.
Okay.
That's the Rhode Island Department of Transportation.
Okay.
And they have like different systems. What we have a GIS map, and we plot all of the development projects, and you can click on them and get a little synopsis of what it's about.
Okay. All right. So when it comes to the exit wise, that's more state. Okay. All right. I didn't even know that, so now I got more perspective on that. And a couple last questions. When it comes to Providence, Rhode Island, what is your favorite thing, one favorite thing about the city of Providence, Rhode Island?
People.
From a general perspective, not even just as mayor, as a resident of Providence, Rhode Island, what's your one favorite thing?
The people.
The people.
Yeah. Like it's the people that make us the city that we are. And we're just so fortunate. We got this great combination of, we have, immigrants from throughout the world. So it's this like mismatch of, cultures coming together. We have, we have the East Side, the East Side, sort of upper middle class professionals. We have, culturally rich, vibrant, thriving immigrant and ethnic communities. We have, a black community that still has like a lot of pride in their neighborhoods, and they're committed to building it up. We have the North End, where, we have a lot of city workers, but a lot of Catholic families, a lot of detached single family homes, different kind of lifestyles. So this is all in one city, in a small city, having like all these different mismatches of folks. That's really cool. That's really, really funky. What we don't have enough of are the kinds of things that bring us together. So we seem siloed, and it feels like it's almost a different world sometimes, but it doesn't have to be that way. So I think the people and the diversity of people that we have is my favorite thing. We just need to figure out like more creative ways to bring it all together.
Yeah. And last two questions. You're ending your term as mayor, but do you have any future plans of running for a higher position? Will we ever see former mayor in the future, Jorge Elorza, running for governor of Rhode Island?
I don't know. I really don't know. As of right now, I'm really excited about these last 3.5 months. There's a lot that I want to get done. At the same time, life on the other side of politics doesn't look so bad either. So I'm excited about finishing strong. I'm excited about the other side too.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I've never been good at planning what my life is going to be like 5 years from now. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But I'll tell you this. I'd like to think, when I look back on my life, and I think about the difference that I've made, the impact that I have, I'd like to think that I'll be looking back, and being mayor will not be the most meaningful thing that I've done in my life. What exactly that's going to be, I don't know, but I still feel young. I have a lot of energy, and I want to make a difference in the world. What shape that'll take, I don't know yet.
Yeah. Perfect. That basically wraps it up, because it basically kind of answered my final question, which was going to be what is your life goal when it's all said and done? But you said it's definitely not, you don't want to just be known like your legacy as just mayor. It's going to be something bigger, but you just don't know yet. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. And any last final words that you have for the people of Providence, Rhode Island? Thousands of people watching every week here on the CAP, the CA podcast. What is Mayor Jorge Elorza's last words?
Well, Election Day is coming up, Tuesday, September 13th. If you haven't voted already, please come out and vote. And specifically, I strongly recommend and urge you to come out to vote for Helena Folks for governor and for Gonzalo Cuervo for mayor. I've gotten to know them both. They're really serious about getting big things done and getting actual results for our communities and for our city. And we need them both. Helena Folks for governor, Gonzalo Cuervo for mayor.
All right. We appreciate your visit here at the studio. Appreciate your time. I know you're very busy. You know, when it comes to any politician, I can imagine their, you know, schedule is crazy. But thank you for giving us your time and wish you the well. And congratulations on two successful, you know, in my opinion, you know, you're going out on a high note. I think the city is definitely, you know, now kind of hitting one of its highest peaks when it comes to attention and tourism. And, you know, you definitely have played a part in, you know, the beautifulness that now more people see Providence Rhode Island for when it comes to PVD FEST, when it comes to, you know, now developments in the city, newer constructions, and, you know, I think you're
parks, new roads,
yeah,
a
new
bunch of good
roads.
stuff.
You know, I think you're definitely gonna, you know, you left your mark. It's safe to say you left your mark on the city. You know, so appreciate you, and you know, thank you for, you know, being our mayor, Jorge Elorza.
All right, thank you.
They gon' love me for my ambition.